Well, I have a problem with the word accurately here. You know, it's a work of fiction, it's a fantasy land. Do I really want a one-to-one depiction? Yes, there could be more diversity for sure, but accurately is not really the right word, I think, for a word of fiction. Wait, is she blaming the people taking the jobs? What if that person needs to feed their family? You think they're not gonna take a job to voice a Genshin Impact character to please some internet people? I don't mind seeing diversity in the media when it fits. I don't like feeling like it's forced. Okay, let's get into the Genshin Impact. So right now there's a huge Genshin Impact controversy, mostly on the western side, where people are very disappointed with Genshin Impact dev miHoYo reportedly telling players accusing New Natlan region of racism to remember that game is a work of fiction. So their problem is that they're not just saying that the region is racist, they're accusing them of whitewashing and also of appropriating other people's culture. So the Natlan region is defined by its warrior-centric culture, the adherence to which has led its various people to organize not into large societies, but rather individual tribes, all of whom follow their own rules. Natlan takes inspiration from various real-world culture, most notably those found through South America and Africa. However, in one distinct difference between itself and its inspirations, the people of Natlan are not dark-skinned in the slightest, but rather boast a tone that can be best described as a very slightly tanned. And it's this skin color discrepancy that has prompted numerous Genshin Impact players to accuse miHoYo of racism. Somebody is indisposed saying Natlan native Kachina is exclaimed, and this person exclaimed, "Giant drill, oh god, how is she whiter here than she was in the trailer?" This is the comment replying to the post. And this comment is saying that, so amidst your own controversy about making Natlan characters white, you chose to whitewash one of the only darker characters we got. Basically, they're saying that this one is a few shades lighter, but I mean, this is super similar. If they didn't color pick it, I wouldn't have noticed. Compared to the key art of previously released character Barbara and the upcoming Natlan fighter Kinish invited their followers spot the difference. One is from a place that is representing Germany, while the other is supposed to represent Mayan and Zapotecs. Hardest challenge ever. So he's from the new Natlan region, and she's from Germany. Genshin Impact isn't trying to be historically accurate or based on real countries. I don't think so. Tweeting out their disapproval, some players even took to sending direct complaints to miHoYo via their customer support line. But much to their dismay, it appears like Gacha developer is not taking any feedback at this time. So this is actually really funny because Genshin Impact did reply. And they said, "Dear traveler, thank you for your feedback. Please be kindly reminded that Genshin Impact is a work of fiction and is not related to actual people, events, groups, or organizations. We do really hope for your understanding. Kind regards, Genshin Impact customer service team." They're like, bro, it's fiction. There's been a huge push to boycott Genshin Impact with an account newly created just to boycott it. It's got 6,000 followers and it's gotten a lot of traction. I think they take influence to it. I mean, it's clearly the vibe they're going for. They wouldn't make it draw similarities to culture and architecture otherwise. I find it memeing when they say lol, it's not real when it's convenient. I've only played Genshin a little bit. I thought all the places looked like Oriental, so I couldn't confirm this myself about the architecture and all of that. So basically, this account has made a chart with a lot of dark-skinned characters in anime games from, you know, all kind of anime, and then they put in the bottom Genshin Impact characters, and it's very light-skinned compared to the rest. I mean, I agree, Genshin Impact could have a little more dark-skinned characters. You know, it's not gonna hurt them. Yeah, but it's China we're talking about. True. I mean, if I'm gonna play devil's advocate, if they have, like, I don't know, a game has like 100 characters and not one of them is dark skin, it's like, well, that stands out like a sore thumb. Asian games represented other cultures with unnatural colors of hair. Sue! I mean, the thing is, yeah, the game's made in China and Asia, and they do have these countries are not very open to foreigners, like at all. I even had a friend who went to Japan and he said people were openly racist to him. So anyway, there's more. So this Boycott Hoyoverse has done a do and don't chart. And the really funny part about the do's and don'ts chart is that none of it says don't play the game because they're all too addicted to the game. They're just basically advising people not to make any purchases, don't buy the battle pass, don't buy merch, don't harass, threaten voice actors, artists, and content creators. That's good. Don't send threats to customer support. Don't interact with racists, speak over people who are indigenous or affected, but do review bomb, do like an RT, do share posts from us, share posts from BIPOC, spreading the word, tell a friend, encourage others to speak up, respond to surveys, send complaints to customer support, sign the link petition, contact your local politicians. Wait, really? Contact your local... I didn't see that part the first time I read it. What the fuck? Post in official Hoyoverse accounts, comments, mute, block trolls. So why this petition matters? The problem is that cultural appropriation and whitewashing perpetuate harmful stereotypes and diminish the rich cultural heritage of indigenous communities. These practices not only misrepresent cultures but also contribute to ongoing marginalization and disrespect. We urge MiHoYo to engage with indigenous cultural consultants, revise existing content to ensure accurate representation, and commit to creating diverse and inclusive characters. I mean, I wouldn't be against them adding more diversity, not gonna lie. But molding about fiction is some people are maladapted. Clearly. But really, again, like this account is pointing out, is that nothing in the boycotting is telling people not to play the game. The Genshin fans, they're like, oh, but I still gotta log in and do my dailies. I'm not gonna buy the battle pass. Actually, slacktivist. Actual slacktivists. Wait, I'm sorry, but what does calling my local politician do exactly? Someone brought up the option of communities whose culture Natlan is appropriating to contact their leaders so they can raise the issue of Hoyo hurting cultures and communities of people to the Chinese government. Wow, they really think the Chinese government is gonna do something about it. But this is actually big right now. It's blowing up. There's a lot of voice actors that are speaking out on it. So Amber May, the English voice actor of Yanking from Honkai Star Rail and Dehia from Genshin, said something about it. We was robbed. Look how beautiful this looks. I really hope they hear everyone and what's being said. So this is the English VA of Arlan from Honkai Star Rail and Nilu from Genshin. The VA from Mommy Archeron. It's just disappointing when parts of the world that are so seldom reflected in media could be portrayed accurately. Well, I have a problem with the word accurately here. You know, it's a work of fiction. It's a fantasy land. Do I really want a one-to-one depiction? Yes, there could be more diversity for sure, but accurately is not really the right word, I think, for a word of fiction. I know this is inspired by as opposed to a one-to-one depiction. Okay, she addresses this in the next line. But if you're so drawing on specific sources, it would be so lovely to see it done the way it should be. There's so much beauty in the world, so many stories that can be told or drawn from, and when it's not done to its full extent, it ends up feeling disrespectful. Even if that isn't the intent, I hope it's possible to make changes at this stage. Well, they're surely not gonna walk back some stuff that's already been released. English VF Topaz, Honkai Star Rail, and MB from ZZZ. We once again find ourselves in a situation where people whose cultures are being represented poorly by the creators and are being told to stop complaining or find another game to play. This is such a missed opportunity to authentically showcase the still colorful and diverse cultures. Truly shame on the decision makers for the Wonder Bread characters design, and shame on the people with zero empathy taking the opportunity to spew thinly veiled racism from beyond the keyboard. If a game draws so heavily from real-world cultures and based on characters on the supreme deity of Yoruba religion, and that character ends up looking like pale Sasuke Batman, people are absolutely within their rights to demand better representation, especially when said game has clearly stated commitment to a global audience. I hope y'all make your voices heard. I hope they listen. This is the English VA of Raiden Shogun. I really hope that a video game company listens to its fan base when valid criticism is made multiple years in a row about the execution of its research and inclusion of aspects of other cultures. English VF Sugalite from Honkai Star Rail. We're on the same side. I'm Afro-Latino. No one loses from darker skin tones. I know pale Puerto Ricans and Puerto Ricans darker than me. Colorism is no bueno. I assure you that if Hoyoverse decided to make skin color darker, you will be the only ones who will sleep well at night, while we Latinos will feel discriminated against. and offended by the racism that you want. This English VA saying email them. English VA of Sucrose, Genshin. I could stay quiet about this and protect myself, but us folks of colors don't always need to stay quiet and let others fuck us over and disrespect us so that we can continue to advance at half the pace of our white peers. If you're going to use real world DTs, respect them. If you're basing off real cultures, respect that. I'm fine with things being inspired by various cultures. That's awesome. Representation is dope. But bare minimum, do some research and show some cultural appreciation. Oloron is the supreme Yoruba deity. You could find that with a quick Google search. Even this is unforgivable. Look at what a sick job Smite did with their own interpretation. The first statement, at first glance for me, really blurs the line between fiction and reality. You're being hired by Genshin. You're a person of color. You are hired by Genshin. You got the job. Now you're fighting for a fictional character's right. That's the difference. If the whole English VA team was all white people, then we'd have a problem. If their whole dev team was all white people, then we'd have a problem. But the fictional characters, let's fight for real world problem first. And then we'll fix video games, fictional characters problems. But let's solve real problems first. You know, we got a lot of them. World hunger, poverty, ecology issues. Our oceans have problems. We need to stop boats from scraping the bottom of our oceans. And for the people that are calling for the voice actors to get replaced with AI, guys, we don't want the whole world to be replaced with AI. Like, I don't want my games to be replaced with AIs so companies can cut corners. Like that, I don't want to watch movies with AI actors. That sounds just boring. AI voice lines are so monotonous. That would suck. And if these voice actors were being fired, like people are encouraging them to be fired, like Grums and all these accounts, then you would say that the CCP is censoring them. But you know, what about free speech then? You guys keep LARPing about free speech. This is the same thing that I'm saying at the beginning of the stream. You guys gotta be consistent with your ideologies. If we're pro free speech, then they're also allowed to criticize the game company they're working for. AI will get better. I don't want to watch my movies with not real people though. I'm okay with AI cutting off some of the manual labor that are repetitive. I'd like to see AI, you know, be able to replace some of the most dangerous jobs we do, being able to control some machinery and factories, cut some of the lower jobs so we can have more people working on thinking, you know, working on creating stuff, working on management. Like, it could be fine. Yeah, it's fine in moderation. I don't want to see it everywhere. I don't really want to see AI content creators pop up. Even a few years ago when that Instagram influencer Michaela popped up and she was landing covers on V magazine, I was like, that's kind of weird. The good thing about Neuro is that she's paired with Vidal. Without Vidal, Neuro wouldn't be as interesting. The novelty of Neuro would die out pretty quickly. Yeah, I'm okay with AI as long as it's monitored, exactly. But do not give them too much power. I've seen The Matrix at least 5 times. Authentic casting is important and Natlan's cast is extremely disappointing. No disrespect to the actors themselves. I don't know the specs of casting. I don't know if they even knew it was for Genshin or had any idea it was for Natlan. My disrespect goes to casting. Wait, is she blaming the people taking the jobs? What if that person needs to feed their family? You think they're not gonna take a job to voice a Genshin Impact character to please some internet people? What? I don't have the full thread here, so I'm gonna give this person the benefit of the doubt. But you shouldn't shame other actors. You had the chance of not appearing in Natlan, I guess. Good for you. Not everybody's got that chance. Not everybody's got options. Not everybody can turn down jobs. Not in this economy. Yeah, blaming casting? That's wild. Yeah, fiction is more important than reality. Like, you're kind of disregarding some humans there. Sometimes I wonder if all of this is like... nah, this is not the time for tinfoil Rima. Oh, you know what? Fuck it. Sometimes I wonder if this all of these culture war, these, you know, these man versus woman discourse, it's all just a ploy to distract us from what's really going on. Maybe we are in the Matrix and Illuminati is pulling the strings and they're just trying to keep us sleepy so we don't complain and we don't rise up. This is why you should elect me as president of the world. Yeah, it's all a ploy to distract us from the fact that Picora has a fucking monkey. Can we just bring back bread and circuses? At least we were entertained back then in Rome. In Rome back then, they would keep the populations from revolting by, you know, having gladiator fights, spreading breads and circuses. They could just give everybody free pizza. That'd be great. But I'm sure making slacktivists fight each other on Twitter is more cost effective than giving away free pizza. So here we are. Okay, no typos this time. When I was a kid, I didn't see a lot of people who looked like my family in the media. Things have been changing, slow, but they have. But so slow it feels. We all deserve to see ourselves in the media, to feel seen. It's a beautiful thing. I don't mind seeing diversity in the media when it fits. I don't like feeling like it's forced. For the diversity thing, I'll give you guys an example. When I grew up, I had a lot of gay friends, for example. And it wasn't that popular back then. And slowly in TV shows and movies and stuff, we started seeing more representation for LGBT people. And some of them had really interesting stories, really good plot lines. But now it's like there needs to be a quota in every TV show. And then every time I see them, sometimes it's so fucking random. I'm just like, well, there goes the quota. We got our one gay couple of the show because we needed to have one. Quick, which character can we turn gay? Oh, this guy. It's just, I don't like when it feels forced. I think it also waters it down. Forced diversity is more racist and derogatory. They don't care about actual representation, stuff that is just natural, not check the box. Yeah. Korra was like that for me. I think it was done tastefully enough in Breaking Bad though. Why is it they make every dark-skinned character blonde? I don't know, maybe it's an anime trope? For example, like I'm watching House of Dragons right now. I think the Valyrians being dark-skinned, that works. It works. I don't feel like it's forced. Even when there's a gay character in Game of Thrones or House of Dragons, I don't feel like it's forced. I think it's well done. Yeah, the actors were great. It was a good character. But for example, there's a movie that I really like from Anne Rice. It's called Interview with a Vampire. It's like a 90s movie with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. And they made a remake of it on Prime Video. And they made one of the main character, they made them like super gay. And they made him black. But that part I don't mind that much. I think I minded more the part that they were gay, but the original story is not that. Is that vampires are supposed to be, they're just like sensual beings, so your gender doesn't really matter. They kind of flirt with everybody. They're sort of bisexual in a way. But instead they made them like they just made them like full-on gay. I was like, what? This isn't the story that I knew. What? I read the book. This wasn't it. I don't like when they change the original story. Yeah, it was ambiguous. I like the ambiguity. Another really obvious example I can think of was the Snow White remake that I think Disney canceled it because the main actress was springing out too much. The worst part is that actress is actually really talented. She was good in the new Hunger Games. She was like the only good thing about the movie. But it's like, you know, Snow White, her description is that she has really red lips, really white skin, dark hair. And then they picked a Latina. What? But that's not the book. Why can't we honor the source material? Artistic vandalism? That's a good word for it. Oh, the movie's still happening? Not gonna lie, I'm Mexican and white as fuck. Yeah, absolutely. You can be Mexican and white as fuck. You can be Arab and be white as fuck. There's all shades in every culture. Oh, Charlie, my strongest horny soldier, is here. Yeah, Rachel Ziegler's personality is so insufferable. And then there's also infighting in the Genshin community because some content creators are speaking out, but this guy like 2 years ago, I think he defended the opposite take, and now he's kind of flaming them for it. So please, can people share that Ororon is actually Oloron? I'm Yoruba and he's a deity in my culture. I think the bad spelling of the name is even worse than the whitewashing. I know what the English account says, but the Japanese confirms is a DT all around isn't a thing. Another example I can think of, it was like the Aladdin live action remake. It's supposed to be based in Middle East and they made them Indian. Why? Where the people making the movie were like, you know, close enough, or we'll just blend in two cultures together, do 2 in 1. I was like, what is this decision? That's so random. There's a song called Nights of Arabia in the movie. Yeah, and Aladdin was one of my favorite Disney movies when I was young. What about The Little Mermaid? I haven't seen that one. The Little Mermaid, the girl they picked for the actress, she's really pretty. It worked a little more, but yeah, they did still change the source material, so I guess I should stay consistent and also flame them. But I haven't seen it. Oh, they're making Pocahontas. Dude, Pocahontas was one of my favorite movies! There's more recent revelation on the Assassin's Creed drama. I haven't really kept up, but I look into it. The live action Mulan was so disappointing. I love Mulan. I love Mulan. A lot of people often flame those Disney movies for being not feminist enough, but they are more feminist than we think. Like Jasmine was pretty headstrong. She didn't want to marry the Sultan or whatever. Who else did we mention? Little Mermaid wants to go on an adventure on the human lands. Belle from The Beauty and the Beast, she's going to save her father. She doesn't need a man. Like, we don't need to change the original story. They're already inspirational stories. I just missed when creators were given full creative freedoms to make the stories they wanted to tell and weren't limited by PC for money and clout. You know, when you don't, this is what you get on the internet, a huge backlash. A lot of the movies we mentioned are strictly Disney movies that be shoveling these things down our throats. Now a movie standard. True. Disney has gone like the other opposite way completely. If they made a live action movie of the Notre Dame, the Bells of Notre Dame, I don't remember what the name of the movie was called, with Quasimodo. If Esmeralda was like brown or like very tan skinned, that would make sense. She's supposed to be a bohemian, a gypsy. It's stuff like the Disney remakes that tell me we might be reaching the end of creativity. There's a lot of things for that. It's also that I've spoken about this before in one of my Patreon video. The problem is that these original movies, they were written by people who based a lot of things on real life experiences, and also they would read books. They had a lot of different source material to base themselves on. Nowadays, the script writers, all they have in their heads are other TV shows and other movies, so the stuff keeps getting recycled. We're basing ourselves of other things that have already been done. If you want to dig deeper and you want to have a wider variety of references or a deeper variety, either change mediums or go get some different life experience and adventures. Sometimes life is wilder than fiction. Yeah, I know about the original Little Mermaid thing, that she died. It was pretty dark. Yeah, it's all regurgitated. We're entering the phase of hyper reality. We're past the phase of hyper reality. We're actually entering hyper reality. In our mind, fiction is closer to reality than reality actually is. Think of like a war, like the Vietnam War, for example. Your only images of the Vietnam War in your head probably comes from movies. That's hyper reality. So yeah, this is what I wanted to point out. I was curious whether all of this would actually make a difference, because I was like, maybe, you know, if we are actually, if the Western fan base actually is a huge portion of the Genshin Impact income and player base, which I thought we were, maybe this would make a change. Maybe this would actually apply pressure on them. But it seems that we're not so present. So Genshin global downloads by region, USA is a mere 11%, China is 24%, and others is 46%. Genshin global revenue by region, China is 40%, Japan is 27%, although they're only constituting 6% of downloads. Dude, Japan has all the whales, bro. And USA constitutes 13% of the revenue. So it's not so much. What probably hurt the Genshin Impact more is the whole controversy they had with the Lunar New Year. when they only offered like 20 of that currency to Genshin Impact player for the Lunar New Year. The Chinese people were so... Oh, it was 3 wishes. It wasn't even 20. They gave them 3 wishes for the Lunar New Year, which is a huge deal there. It's the biggest holiday celebration of the year. And they gave them 3 wishes for... That's so cheap. To a country that generates 40% of your revenue? Like, come on. Come on. It was like a slap in the face. They got really upset. A lot of people were very mad. This was 3 years ago, by the way, the graph, or 2 years ago. So it must have changed by now. There's probably a better graph. Remember Bunny Girls incident? I don't know this one. At the end of the day, Genshin Impact only cares about their money. They don't care about any of that. If it doesn't affect their bottom line, they're not gonna care. They just won't. They figured out the infinite money glitch and they're just gonna keep on exploiting that glitch. Yeah, all companies are like that. And probably the only reason why some companies are getting more into diversity is because they want to make more money. It's not really because they care about us.